There is a man thinking about you right now, and the feelings he carries for you are much deeper than anything he has ever admitted to anyone. You may not fully recognize it yet. You may even question whether someone could truly feel this strongly about you. But there is something important you have been meant to discover, and it could only reach you when your heart was ready to hear it. There is one person who continues to appear in your thoughts without warning. The one who crosses your mind during quiet evenings, who shows up in your dreams, and who stays in your heart when you wonder whether true love is really meant for you. That person holds genuine love for you. Before you dismiss these words or convince yourself they cannot possibly apply to your life, stay with this message for a little longer. What you are about to hear reaches beyond ordinary coincidence. Sometimes, life places us exactly where we need to be, even when we do not understand why. The fact that you are listening to this right now may not be random at all. There is a truth that has remained hidden, waiting until you could finally see it clearly. It is a truth about love, about a connection that has quietly grown over time, and about a man whose emotions have become stronger than you have ever imagined. Keep watching, because the most important part of this message is still ahead. The answer you have been searching for may arrive sooner than you expect. As this story unfolds, everything will begin making more sense. There is one important reason this relationship has not fully stepped into reality yet. Something beneath the surface has slowed everything down, creating distance where there should have been closeness. By the time this message reaches its end, you may finally understand what has been standing between both of you. Think back for a moment. Haven't there been times when the energy between you felt impossible to ignore? Moments when simply being near each other seemed different from every other connection in your life. A glance that lasted 1 second longer than expected. A smile that stayed with you for hours. Conversations that felt meaningful even when very little was actually said. Even the quiet moments seemed to carry emotions words could never explain. Maybe during late nights, you questioned yourself, wondering whether those feelings were real or whether your imagination had created something that never existed. If you have ever asked yourself that question, allow the doubt to soften for just a moment. What your heart noticed was not meaningless. There was something genuine beneath those experiences. Your mind may have searched for logical explanations, but your intuition kept whispering the same answer. Deep inside, you already sensed that something important was growing between you, even if nothing had been spoken aloud. Stay until the end, because what happens next may completely change how you see this connection forever. The truth is that this man has been carrying emotions he cannot easily explain, even to himself. He has tried to understand why your presence affects him so deeply, yet every answer seems to lead him back to you. There are moments when he convinces himself to stay silent. He tells himself that keeping his feelings hidden is the safest choice. But no matter how hard he tries, your memory continues returning. It appears during ordinary moments while he is working, driving, walking alone, or sitting quietly with his own thoughts. Something about you refuses to leave his heart. That is why this connection has felt unfinished. His silence was never proof that he felt nothing. In many cases, silence hides emotions that are simply too powerful to express. Some people reveal love with words. Others reveal it through hesitation, through nervousness, through the way they keep looking back even after walking away. Have you noticed those unexpected moments when he seemed ready to say something but stopped? Those pauses were not empty. They carried feelings he could not bring himself to speak. Fear often stands between love and action. Fear of rejection, fear of changing everything, fear that the connection matters so much that losing it would hurt more than never trying at all. Many people mistake that fear for indifference, but they are completely different. Someone who feels nothing usually moves on with ease. Someone who feels deeply often becomes the quietest person in the room. Keep listening, because there is another layer to this story that very few people recognize, and understanding it may answer questions you have carried for a long time. What makes this connection different is not only the emotions involved, but also the timing surrounding both of you. Sometimes life asks two people to grow separately before bringing them closer together. During that waiting period, everything can appear confusing. One person may believe the opportunity has passed, while the other secretly hopes the future will offer another chance. That space between you has not necessarily been a sign that love disappeared. In many situations, it becomes the place where love quietly matures. While you have been focusing on your own journey, becoming stronger, wiser, and more aware of your value, something similar has been happening within him. His understanding has been changing little by little. Feelings that once confused him are becoming impossible to ignore. He is beginning to realize that certain people enter our lives for reasons much bigger than temporary attraction. Some connections remain in our hearts because they were always meant to teach us something important about ourselves. You may have noticed that no matter how much time passes, certain memories involving this person refuse to fade. They return unexpectedly with remarkable clarity. A familiar voice, a certain place, a song, a random moment that suddenly reminds you of everything you once felt. Those memories continue appearing because your heart has never completely closed that chapter, and perhaps neither has his. If this message is speaking to something you have quietly felt inside, stay with it until the final words. Sometimes the last piece of the puzzle is the one that changes everything you thought you knew. There are times when his own emotions catch him completely off guard. He never planned to feel this way. He did not wake up one morning deciding that you would become so important to him. It happened quietly, step by step, like daylight slowly filling the sky without asking for permission. Something about you entered his life and gently changed something deep within him. Since that moment, he has carried a silent but steady flame inside his heart. It has remained there through busy days, lonely nights, and every distraction life has placed in front of him. No matter how much he tried to focus elsewhere, that feeling never truly disappeared. Before we continue, there is something you need to understand. The challenge between you and this man does not mean the connection is wrong. It is not a sign that fate made a mistake, and it certainly does not mean you were never meant to cross paths. Many people believe real love should always feel simple, easy, and free from uncertainty. But the strongest connections often arrive carrying lessons, delays, and moments that test both hearts. Those delays are not there to punish either of you. Sometimes they exist to protect something valuable until both people are emotionally ready to receive it. Stay with this message because an important piece of the story is about to come into focus. Everything you have questioned may soon begin making sense. There is a reason the timing has felt confusing, and before this message ends, you may see it from a completely different perspective. Every experience, every unanswered question, and every unexpected pause has quietly been preparing you for a truth that is much bigger than you realized. Life has watched your journey more closely than you know. It has seen the nights when you whispered silent hopes that no one else ever heard. It has witnessed the moments when you felt unseen, misunderstood, or emotionally exhausted. It has noticed how deeply you cared for people, even when they were unable to return the same level of love. It saw you remain loyal when leaving would have been easier. It saw you continue believing in goodness even after disappointment visited your life more than once. None of those experiences were meaningless. Every challenge shaped your heart into something stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Your ability to love did not disappear through hardship. It grew. Piece by piece, you became ready for a connection built on honesty, stability, and genuine care rather than temporary excitement. This man is connected to that journey in ways you may not yet fully understand. But before the path between you can fully open, something hidden must first be recognized. This message is not simply here to make you feel better for a few moments. It is inviting you to see your situation with fresh eyes. Every sentence is meant to remove a little more confusion and replace it with understanding. As you continue listening, quietly remind yourself that you are ready to receive clarity, ready to release uncertainty, ready to understand what your heart has been trying to tell you all along. Keep watching, because the next part reveals why everything has unfolded exactly as it has. Sometimes the answers arrive only after we are finally prepared to hear them. There are quiet forces working behind the scenes of your life every single day, even when you cannot see them. Guidance often appears in unexpected ways, gently leading us toward understanding instead of forcing us into it. Perhaps that is why these words reached you now and not months earlier. The timing matters. You were brought here because something inside you is finally ready to recognize what has been hidden beneath the surface. Slowly, the uncertainty surrounding this connection is beginning to fade. Confusion is giving way to clarity, and what once seemed impossible is starting to feel easier to understand. Think about this man again. He never expected to care this deeply. At first, he convinced himself that what he felt was nothing more than admiration or simple friendship. He searched for practical explanations. He tried to convince himself that his heart was overreacting. Yet every attempt to explain away his emotions only brought him back to the same truth. His feelings continued growing stronger instead of disappearing. This is no passing emotion. It is something that has quietly transformed the way he sees both himself and you. You may wonder whether these words truly relate to the person already filling your thoughts. The answer is often found in the quiet certainty inside you rather than in endless proof. When someone is deeply connected to your journey, your heart usually recognizes them long before your mind catches up. If one particular face continues appearing as you hear these words, or one familiar name refuses to leave your thoughts, do not ignore that feeling too quickly. Sometimes your intuition notices what logic cannot yet explain. Stay until the very end, because the final piece of this message may answer the question you have been asking yourself for far longer than you realize. Now, we need to speak honestly about the challenge that has stood between both of you. At its center is fear, but not the ordinary kind. It reaches much deeper than simple uncertainty about love. It was shaped by experiences that left emotional wounds, moments he rarely speaks about and may not even fully understand himself. At some point, he trusted someone with his heart and was met with disappointment instead. Perhaps he experienced rejection when he expected acceptance. Perhaps someone he believed in walked away without warning. Maybe trust was broken so completely that he promised himself never to become that vulnerable again. Whatever happened, it changed him. Instead of risking the same pain, he slowly built emotional walls around his heart. Those walls were never created because he stopped believing in love. They were created because he became afraid of losing it again. What makes your connection different is that you somehow reached places inside him that he believed were permanently closed. You did not force your way into his life. You simply existed, and somehow your presence slipped beyond every defense he had carefully built over the years. That unexpected closeness frightened him, not because there was something wrong with you, but because of how deeply your presence affected him. Inside him, two powerful emotions continue pulling in opposite directions. One part longs to move closer, while another part still fears what could happen if he allows himself to love without holding anything back. That quiet inner struggle explains far more than silence ever could, and understanding it may completely change the way you see everything that has happened between you. His heart keeps pulling him closer to you, while his mind keeps telling him to slow down and protect himself. One part of him already knows how important you are, but another part still remembers the pain he once carried. That inner battle has never been about your value. It has never meant that you were not enough or that something was missing in you. The struggle belongs to his own healing. It belongs to the journey of learning how to trust again after disappointment. And somehow, your presence has become part of that journey. Meeting you was not meaningless. You represent something he quietly hoped still existed. A connection built on honesty. A place where he could finally feel understood. A relationship where he would not have to hide behind emotional walls. Every meaningful connection moves at its own pace. Love has seasons just as life does. Some relationships bloom quickly, while others need time to grow stronger beneath the surface before anyone can clearly see them. That does not make them weaker. Sometimes it makes them stronger. The most important truth is simple. His feelings are real. They are alive even if they have not yet been fully spoken. Right now, they are moving through lessons, delays, and quiet changes that are shaping both of you. If you have ever wondered whether the waiting means the connection is fading, do not rush to that conclusion. Sometimes waiting simply means life is still arranging the pieces. Stay until the end, because one important detail could completely change the way you understand everything that has happened between you. The final part of this message may answer a question your heart has been asking for much longer than you realize. He is changing through his own personal journey as well. The time he needs is not because he cares less. It is because he is still facing parts of himself that have remained hidden for years. Slowly, he is beginning to recognize that the emotional walls he once built for protection are now keeping out the very love he has been searching for. Those walls once helped him survive painful experiences, but now they stand between him and the connection his heart truly wants. Your role in all of this is not to chase him or convince him that you deserve to be loved. You do not have to fight for someone's attention or constantly prove your worth. The greatest thing you can do is remain true to yourself and continue becoming the person you are meant to be. Trust that whatever brought this connection into your life is also capable of guiding it forward in the right season. Waiting can feel heavy. Uncertainty can steal your peace. Naturally, you want answers. You want clear timing. You want to know when everything will finally make sense. While no one can promise an exact day or moment, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Change has already begun. Quietly and steadily, something is softening his heart. Old fears are losing their grip. Past disappointments are no longer controlling every decision. Little by little, he is becoming more aware of what has been standing in front of him all along. Keep watching, because the next realization may be the one that shifts everything. Sometimes the biggest transformations happen silently before anyone notices them on the outside. There is another reason this connection has taken longer than expected. It is not only his past that influences him. It is also the way he sees his present life. At times he looks around and feels he has not accomplished enough. He may believe he needs greater stability, more confidence, or a stronger sense of direction before allowing himself to fully love someone. In his own mind, he thinks he is protecting you by waiting until he feels completely prepared. This is not only about money, career, or success. It goes much deeper than that. It is about self-worth. He wants to feel like he can stand beside you as an equal instead of feeling like he is still trying to figure himself out. Yet life has a gentle way of teaching an important lesson. Almost no one reaches a moment where they feel perfectly ready. Love is rarely something that begins after every problem has been solved. More often, it grows while two people continue learning and healing together. His belief that he must become perfect before moving forward has created delays, but that belief is beginning to change. Slowly, he is realizing that waiting for ideal conditions could mean waiting forever. Real relationships are built through honesty, patience, effort, and choosing one another again and again, even while life remains imperfect. If these words feel familiar, trust your heart enough to keep listening. The next part may reveal why this connection has stayed alive despite every obstacle placed in its path. There is someone thinking about you even now, and the emotions he carries are much stronger than he has ever admitted out loud. You may not fully recognize it yet, and there may be days when you question whether anyone could possibly feel this deeply about you. Still, there is a truth waiting to be discovered when your heart is ready to receive it. One particular person continues returning to your thoughts without warning. The same person who appears in quiet moments, who slips into your dreams, and who stays close to your heart whenever you wonder whether lasting love will ever arrive. His feelings have grown far beyond simple admiration. Before you dismiss this message or tell yourself it cannot possibly relate to your life, remain here a little longer. Sometimes life places us in front of certain words exactly when we need them most. Perhaps this moment is one of those times. There is something you have not fully understood yet about this connection. A hidden layer has delayed its full expression, making everything appear more confusing than it truly is. Yet confusion is beginning to give way to understanding. Think back to those moments that seemed impossible to explain. The lingering eye contact, conversations that felt unusually meaningful, the silence that somehow spoke louder than words. Maybe you questioned whether it was all happening only in your imagination, but your intuition noticed something real long before your mind accepted it. His emotions continue surprising even him. He never planned to fall this deeply. It happened quietly, naturally, one small moment after another, until your presence became part of his inner world. Since then, he has carried a steady flame inside his heart that refuses to disappear, no matter how much time passes. And through every challenge, every unanswered question, and every delay, both of your hearts have continued growing into the people they needed to become before this connection could fully reveal its true strength. Your ability to love has become stronger through everything you have experienced. Every disappointment, every lesson, and every moment that tested your heart has quietly prepared you for something more stable, more genuine, and more lasting. This man is connected to that journey in ways you may not fully understand yet. But before the distance between you can disappear, the real reason behind it must first be understood. This message is not simply here to offer temporary comfort. It reaches much deeper than that. Every sentence is meant to awaken something inside you, helping you see what has remained hidden for so long. As you listen, quietly remind yourself that you are ready. Ready to understand the truth about your love life, even if the path has felt confusing. Ready to replace uncertainty with clarity. Ready to trust the quiet voice inside that has been guiding you all along. There are things moving in your life that cannot always be seen with your eyes. Guidance often works silently, leading us step by step without announcing itself. Perhaps that is why these words reached you today, not by chance, but because the timing finally matches the lesson. You are beginning to understand what has really been happening between you and this man. The fog is slowly lifting. Doubt is giving way to understanding. Keep watching, because what comes next may completely change how you see this connection. Sometimes the answers appear only when the heart has finally become ready to receive them. Think about him again for a moment. He never expected this connection to become so meaningful. There was a time when he convinced himself it was only admiration or perhaps a close friendship. He searched for practical explanations, trying to understand why being around you affected him differently from everyone else. He questioned his own reactions. He tried to convince himself that his emotions would eventually settle down. But the heart has a way of refusing every explanation that is not true. No matter how much logic he relied on, the same feeling kept returning. His love for you did not arrive suddenly, and it certainly did not remain small. It quietly reshaped the way he experiences his own world. You may still wonder whether these words are really describing the person already filling your thoughts. The answer often comes from within rather than from proof you can hold in your hands. When someone is deeply connected to your life, your inner self usually recognizes them long before your mind can explain why. If one face continues appearing as you hear these words, or one familiar name keeps returning no matter how much you try to focus elsewhere, pay attention to that feeling. It may not be random at all. Stay until the end, because another important piece of the story is about to unfold, and it may answer questions that have quietly lived in your heart for much longer than you realize. Now it is important to speak honestly about the challenge standing between both of you. At its center is fear, but not the ordinary kind. It reaches far beyond simple hesitation about love. It comes from experiences that left emotional wounds, memories he rarely shares and may still struggle to fully understand himself. At some point, he opened his heart and was met with disappointment instead of safety. Maybe someone rejected him when he trusted them completely. Maybe loyalty was answered with betrayal. Maybe he discovered too late that someone he valued never truly valued him in return. Whatever the exact story may be, the result remained the same. He slowly learned to protect himself. Piece by piece, he built emotional walls, believing they would keep future pain away. What makes your connection different is that you somehow reached beyond those walls without trying to force anything. Your presence quietly touched parts of him that he believed had closed forever. That frightened him, not because there was anything wrong with you, but because your presence awakened feelings he no longer believed he could experience. Inside him, there is an ongoing battle. His heart wants to move closer, while his memories remind him to be careful. One part believes in love, another part still remembers pain. That struggle has never been about your value. It has always been about his healing, and whether he fully realizes it or not, you have become part of that healing process. You were never placed in his life without purpose. You represent something he once believed had disappeared forever. A relationship built on honesty instead of games, emotional safety instead of uncertainty. A place where he could finally stop pretending to be stronger than he really feels. Timing matters more than most people realize. Love grows according to its own rhythm, not according to human impatience. Some connections blossom quickly, while others quietly strengthen beneath the surface before they become visible to anyone else. The important truth remains unchanged. His feelings are real. They continue living inside him even if they have not yet been fully expressed. They are moving through challenges that are shaping both of you into stronger people. What you are experiencing today is not evidence that this story has reached its ending. It may simply mean that life is still arranging everything into its proper place. He continues growing through his own lessons as well. The time he needs does not come from a lack of love. It comes from the work he still has to do within himself. He is slowly beginning to understand that the walls he built for protection have become barriers keeping out the very relationship his heart longs for. Your responsibility is not to chase him, persuade him, or prove that you deserve to be chosen. You never have to fight for genuine love.